doesn't end well unless it ends. Can't just report the fucking obvious. Just a motherfucking jump. Just go. And going we are. This is a Monday, the last Monday of 2025. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy and the other fucking guy. At the control, making it all happen, is Leo. Good morning, Leo.
Good morning, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing mostly okay. I still haven't recovered from the Pittsburgh Steelers losing to the Browns because I hate the Browns.
You guys lost to the Browns.
Lost to the Browns. Shedeur Sanders had a pretty good first half, not as great second half. But that Cleveland defense, that's a Super Bowl defense that's being wasted, man. Super Bowl defense. That's how good that defense is. They just are, they're monsters. And Myles Garrett tried to break the record yesterday for sacks, and he didn't get it. And I think that the Steelers concentrated so much on preventing him from doing that, that it led to them making certain calls during the game that could have cost them the game. I think Tomlin mismanaged the whole game. It was not well played. The only really honestly good play was the Cleveland defense. That was good. So, but hey, you know, that's what makes a rivalry is even when they're having a bad year. If they beat you, you know, it's their Super Bowl. You know, if I was a Browns fan today, I'd be super happy. You know, that's their biggest win of the year for sure. You always want to beat the Steelers if you're the Cleveland Browns, and we always want to beat them, no matter what their record is. It's just a thing. But the Steelers could have clinched their playoff berth yesterday.
Gotcha.
And the problem now is, even though they're technically ahead of the Ravens, they're not. Because if they lose the game this coming Sunday night, and it's going to be the Sunday night game, if they lose the game, they'll be tied, but they lose the tiebreakers. Yeah. Because they'll have a division record that's worse than the Ravens. That'll be the tiebreaker that sets it. Head-to-head, they'll have a split, so then it goes to something else, which is the record in your conference or record in your division. And, you know, that was good for the Ravens, not good for the Steelers. The Steelers wanted to end it yesterday and didn't get the job done. And so really, if you think about it, next week's game is like a play-in almost. Like you have in some, like the basketball tournament for NCAA, or, you know, what they've even talked about possibly doing for football, having a play-in game for some of these teams. This is literally a playoff game. I mean,
oh, wow.
Even though they won't call it such, you have to win, and then you have to keep winning. It's one loss and you're done.
That's crazy.
And it starts a week early for the Steelers and the Ravens.
And it's both the Panthers, Buccaneers, and Ravens, Steelers, both the two teams that are in the bubble, basically, are the ones playing. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. And the other thing, I tell you what, your San Francisco 49ers last night and the last 2 weeks, Brock Purdy is the shit, man. He is looking like a Super Bowl caliber quarterback again. He's got his shit together. You know, he threw for 5 touchdowns a week ago. Last night, I think he had 3 touchdowns and 2 rushing. He had 3 passing, 2 rushing. I mean, the dude, he looked, you know, I don't mean to bring up race, but I'm going to bring up race because I don't believe he gets the credit that he deserves because he's white. That you don't expect, you know, the black quarterbacks, they run around and they make things happen, and they're harder to tackle. The white quarterbacks sit in the pocket, they just don't get their due, and I think it happens on both sides. Black quarterbacks are still treated like they're not as good on the mental side of the game or reading defenses and things like that. And then the white quarterbacks are treated like, well, they don't have the physical capabilities, or the arm strength, or, really, there was one play late in the game. I swear to God, it looked like he was 12 years old. It looked like a 12-year-old flag football game or something, where he was running around in the back, just having fun. I mean, it was just totally made up. It got to a point where, whatever play they had designed didn't work, and nobody was open, and he was just running around.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took off, and he took off a number of times. And it was, when he did run the ball, it was really good. It was really good. It was smart. And that's what you want. That's all. I love it myself. I think it's great. I want to see him do well. And for those of you who don't know and need me to repeat it, we all kind of root for Brock Purdy around here, although Leo is a legit 49ers fan, but he's from Queen Creek. And so, we want to see the hometown kid look really, really well. And, on Saturday, I watched from back in my hometown. So Toledo and Oregon are kind of like, think of it like Phoenix and Chandler. Like they butt up against each other, kind of like two cities like that.
Okay.
And Toledo being the bigger city. But Oregon, very close to us. And Clay High School quarterback, I had actually played with his dad. He's playing for Pittsburgh, the college team, Pittsburgh.
There's a college team called Pittsburgh.
Yes, Pittsburgh has a college team.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That he rookie, I think, or freshman, I think. So, but he did pretty well, but not, he had a little bit of a rough game, but he's young and going to grow. But it's just kind of cool to see people from your hometown, do well. Yeah, do well on that. That's kind of cool. So, yeah, his name was Heinschel, and they were very, very Heinschel.
What a name.
Yeah, they're very, very talented. His uncles, his dad, all very talented athletes, and the genes certainly got passed down. So that was, yeah, there you go. That's my football, because we got other things to get to today, a whole lot of other things. And we'll see if we get past one. We might spend a lot of time on one. If you haven't seen it, we're going to show it to you here. And we're actually going to go through the whole thing. This, how many views does this video have now? Can we see that? It's got 151,000 thumbs ups.
1.3 mil?
Yeah, just shy of 1.4. It's closer to 1.4 than it is 1.3 by a lot. 1,387,000. Yeah, that's we'll just go with 1,000,004, because within an hour it's going to be there. It's one of the most viral videos of the weekend. And the question I have right off the get-go is, this is just some kid. You're a young man. I'll put it that way. He's not a kid. He's a young man. And hats off to him for doing what, and I don't know if he has any background, if he's taken any classes in college on journalism, but this young man just did more real journalism than these people at the New York Times, the LA Times, the Washington Post. He's done more than any reporter or journalist with, we'll go CBS News, CNN, ABC. Anybody could have done of those organizations. They could have taken this on and done this. And they could have done it sooner rather than later. Nobody did it. Nobody did it. And we have a governor, and we're going to get to it. I'm talking about the Minnesota fraud now. And the latest revelation about that Minnesota fraud and daycares, where these daycares were taking in over $2 million in a year, and there's no kids. There's literally no real daycare. It's a lot. And it's more than just this $2 million. It's really adding up. And then, so you have the governor coming out saying, he's pushing back and he's against fraud. He hasn't given a fuck about fraud the entire time he's been governor. What he cared about was not being called a racist by a bunch of fucking Somalians. That's what he cared about. And he cared about getting their vote. So everybody just turned a blind eye to the fraud that was going on. They knew there was fraud going on. And they just turned a blind eye. And now the FBI, the FBI is going to get... I'm over Kash Patel. I was all behind Kash Patel as a pick, but, Kash Patel decided that it was important to investigate basketball players, NBA players. And it's not that stuff's not important at all, but they're not taking taxpayer money. People that are being defrauded are bettors. I mean, and you don't know, one way or another. You got to just assume that if you look at some of these games, you have to just assume somebody's throwing something in some of these games. But I digress. But I'm just over Kash Patel. Just literally over the dude. You're going after NBA players, and now there's this fraud here. And, why isn't this is what Doge was supposed to be for, ladies and gentlemen. This is what Doge was supposed to do. And I'm sick and tired of the denial about the fraud that's going on. And that's what we have is denial. I'm tired of the denial that we have. And that we're not getting any results for our people. And then you put that on top of the money we're sending foreign countries. Because also this weekend, the other story I was going to get to maybe is ending of the Ukraine war. That they're getting closer. And if and when it does happen, guess what they want? $800 billion. Almost $1 trillion. To rebuild the country. And you know who's going to have to cough up money first? Us. $100 billion. And then the European nations together are going to do $100 billion. That's insane, man. That's insane. I wasn't for the extension of the Obama healthcare subsidies. But, I'm kind of feeling like now that we could have health care in this country paid for if we just stopped with the fraud and we stopped giving money to other fucking countries. It might be enough to cover it. I don't know. I could be wrong. But it seems like we're talking about a whole bunch of motherfucking money now. But anyways, we'll get back to Nick Shirley. Now, Nick Shirley's his name, and he's got he's got over there was over almost 1.4 million views, and I think he has over 1 million subscribers. And give it a week, he'll be adding another 1 million. This dude's gonna blow up big, and he deserves it because he's done the work. He's done the work that other so-called journalists should have been doing and should have done. And any of them could have chosen to do this and do this at any time. This is the kind of work journalists used to do years ago, exposing these kinds of things. And thank God we have individuals like this that are willing to pick up the mantle and, do something good and expose it. So we're going to go, it's a 40-minute video. I don't know how much of it we'll get through, but we're going to kind of start at the beginning of it, and maybe we'll skip a little bit here and there. But I want to react to the video. Now, I've only seen sections of this video, small sections of it, so I haven't seen the whole thing. So I'm going to react to this for our show today and see where that takes us. But people are talking about this, but nobody's going through it step by step like this, and I thought we would. So, Leo, you want to give that a whirl there, buddy?
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building. Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves all at the US taxpayers' expense. And in this video we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked.
All right, stop it right there for a second.
Fraud here
Just think about this for a second, about how we just had a government shutdown. Just a couple months ago, we had a government shutdown. There were people that didn't get, there are legitimate people on these programs that are on safety net programs. And we want to help those people. And those people didn't get their benefits for a few weeks because of Republicans and Democrats fighting. And these are the kinds of programs here that they're talking about, that the money's not getting to the people. The people are not getting the money. The politicians want to take credit for setting up a system. Oh, well, we're giving this much money and we're going to feed the children. We're going to take care moms. And how many people would like to have, some help with their child care? I'm pretty sure that's something President Trump ran on. I believe that, his kids, they talked about it, about child care being a priority or helping people. How is this helping people? How is this helping people? We're not talking about a little fraud. Like you usually expect, like say you're a store and you sell whatever. You're a department store. I remember when I was a manager at a department store that we had a certain percentage that we expected to get stolen every year. And it was usually in that 1% to 3% range. And if you started losing more than 3% of your goods, that's when the corporation would take notice and they'd be like, hey, what's going on at the store? Is it employees ripping us off? Is it, people coming in and just stealing? What's going on at this store? So I get it that you expect a certain amount of fraud. And I don't know, I never thought about it, but they did it during COVID. And they're doing it now where people have set up fake companies, fake LLCs, and applied for money and just gotten it. We missed the boat, dude. You and I worked. We worked to earn the money. When we could have set up an LLC and just figured, you know what? The chances that the government's going to find out that we're just taking their money and that we don't really exist is probably small. Slim to none. Who are they going to? They're going to send somebody out? They're going to get out of here. Get out of here. They have no clue. So we'll go back to the video. Nick is interviewing David, who has been, on this for, I guess, a while now. Let's find out more.
Minnesota.
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. how I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud. And I would see these child care centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day. And all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation, contributing, but they never had a passenger, never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them.
Wow.
And more than 800 of them are Somali owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
So right here we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research, and then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a childcare not far from here in Minneapolis that has two childcares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children. I have never seen a single child there ever, and I've been by that place at least 100 times.
These Somalians, these groups are setting up these daycares, these childcare centers, getting money from the government, but there's no kids.
No kids. Never had any of them. They're all fraught with violations, and even though they have these violations, they're still in operation and they're still getting money. And it's millions of dollars for every one of them every year.
And who's getting the money? And where are they getting the money from?
So we have a thing called CCAP. It's a blend of federal and state money. The bottom line is it's taxpayer money, so it's state money and it's federal money. And the problem is the people at the state of Minnesota are the ones writing the checks. This is kind of the maddening thing is you have daycare, so you have adult daycare, and then you have child care, and then you have health care. And a lot of these same names keep coming up on all of these different types of businesses. And then, of course, we have the transportation, and a lot of those same names appear, a lot of the same addresses. There's one building that has 14 Somali healthcare companies at the same address. There's another building in St. Paul that has 22 Somali healthcare businesses at the same address.
How does that not? How does that not like trigger a red flag? And I just keep coming back in my head thinking, isn't this what Elon Musk was talking about? Exactly. But we ran him off. We almost destroyed the man and his company. And thank God, I'm happy the dude is recovered financially and doing well. And you know, you want to attack billionaires, you have your thing. You're a motherfucking moron. Okay? Because he's one of the greatest minds of all time. In what he's done and the work that he's done and his companies have done and his people and what he's put together. And if you can't see that, I can't help you. But he wanted to he wanted to root out this kind of thing because maybe, just maybe, we're in this financial situation that we can't continue with all this debt. And just maybe there might be greater amount of fraud than we thought. And for the amount they're talking about, you know, 9 billion, 8 billion, it just keeps going up. You know it's not even a part of the story, but it's a known fact. And nobody cares. Nobody's mad. Do you realize, if you looked it up, look up California speed rail system and how much has been spent for their rail system, and it's about $18 billion. And do you know how much track they've laid? What does it say on the AI that you got?
They have spent around $15 billion by mid 2025, but faces massive cost overruns with estimates for full system soaring over 128 billion or more.
Right. And how much of the high-speed rail has been completed? Can we ask you that? How much of the high-speed rail has been completed? Because I want to know where the cost overruns come from.
As of late December 2025, no operational high-speed rail tracks have been laid, but significant civil construction is complete in California's central.
Dude, and they're way, way behind by years. And, you know, it started out at a lower amount and then got to a bigger amount. And then it's been, and literally $15 to $18 billion, and they've got no rail that works. And by the time they complete that, it's just a short amount. It's not the big, longer rail that they had wanted, you know, from, I forget where the distances were, but that's not important. But I'm just saying, this is fraud too. This is fraud. This is mismanagement of money. And nobody's mad. Why aren't you mad? See, you're mad because we're not doing certain things for certain people. Well, maybe we could do those things if we fix this kind of shit. If we went after this money, if we said enough is enough, and we started holding people accountable. Because that's what I haven't seen yet. You're going to see the pictures and the video that they're going to show of these daycare centers. And yes, there was some other fraud and some people have been prosecuted, but these judges are fucktards. And we're not getting the kind of accountability that we should all be demanding. And these places should, this morning, we should be hearing breaking news reports on Fox News, on CNN, that the FBI has raided some of these places and gone in there, taken whatever computers are there, whatever information, just taken and started perp walking some of the people on the names of the businesses. And then do your investigation. But we're not getting anything. We're not getting anything. This kid hasn't even gotten a thank you from anyone, including Kash Patel, who over the weekend had his own little news conference about how they were going to, the FBI. Dude, this kid did the work, man. How about show some a little bit of fucking appreciation for what this young man has done? All right, we'll go back to more of the video.
The government knows they're writing the checks. Yeah, the Democrats over there just writing the checks. What has happened is that the Somali community is a very closed community. They will not speak to anyone outside the community and talk about what's going on within the community. They vote as a block. And so when you're a politician, you're saying, look, I've got 100,000 people in Minnesota that if I do something for the community, they're going to vote for me. And that's what it's all about, is getting the votes. And then the people here in Minnesota, you hear this term, Minnesota nice. I'm so sick of that term. The people here are so afraid of being called a racist or an Islamophobe. And they're afraid of their own shadow. And I don't understand. This is our future generations are going to have to pay for all this fraud. And they just want to bury their heads in the sand and go on and just not worry about it. Tim Walz saying there's organized crime in Minnesota. What did he do about it? Nothing. You got organized crime? What are you doing? This is the Minnesota law, which mandates that anyone who knows of fraud and is a state employee must report that fraud. It's Minnesota Statute 3.971, Subdivision 9. Not only that, but Walz is also guilty of misconduct of a public employee. When I look at the world as a whole and I look at fraud, the Twin Cities is ground zero. The fraud is worse here than anywhere else ever in history. Anywhere.
We're going to go confront these people.
And actually, I think what's fair to say is that this may be the biggest fraud anywhere in the U.S. that they've uncovered so far. Do you think? I'm sorry. I'm a little skeptical that there isn't more fraud in, say, California, possibly Washington, Oregon, in some of these other blue states. And after seeing this, shouldn't somebody be like looking under the covers here and checking that out and just see, well, just for shits and giggles, why don't we see what kind of stuff like this is going on in our own state? And maybe you might be able to run a database through an AI program and say, well, how many businesses are listed at the same fucking address? That'd be a good fucking place to start. You got 22 businesses at the same motherfucking address. Something might be amiss. It doesn't seem like it should be that hard if you want to uncover it. And I just don't understand why we're not covering it. And you know what's going to happen with this? The same thing that always happens. Nothing. It's going to be reported. We're going to be angry. We're going to say things about Somalians. We're going to be accused of, bigotry and hatred. But what's the truth here? The truth is, on a percentage basis, like that community is responsible for a lot. A lot. They're not coming over here making our country better. They came over here and they're scamming our country and they're making you feel bad for it. How dare you? How dare you accuse them? You racist bigot. All right, let's continue on.
But what's actually happening?
Okay, so we have to be careful because these people are very violent. They're exceptionally violent.
Now, with all of David's evidence, we headed out to the streets of Minneapolis to see how much fraud we could uncover in one afternoon. Where are we going now?
We're going to a place called Mako Child Care, which actually has another child care registered at the same address called Mini Child Care Center.
So we should see lots of children if there's this child care center, especially if there's two.
The two of them combined are licensed for 120.
And how much money have these child care centers received?
None of those vans have moved in 6 months. None of them. In 2020, one of them received $1.3 million. In 2021, they got $987,000. In 2022, they got $714,000. That's the last I have for that one. And then the other one, $1.604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about $800,000, and in fiscal year 2023, they got $904,059. This place right here. Yes.
We're outside of it.
Well, this is actually two daycares are registered here. One of them is Mako, which you see on this sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year. And there are no children. Every facility as you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.
There are indeed no windows. All the windows are blacked out right here. All right, let's go in.
No.
And the child care center is locked. Should we ring the doorbell?
Yeah.
Try to get in, ring the doorbell. Nobody showed up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. it says here on their sign, yet there's absolutely nobody here. And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday. And if this was a daycare center, it wouldn't just be in some industrialized building. There would be maybe like a playground or something outside, or...
There's no play area for the kids. So where are the kids? Where's anybody? How can there be nobody here? And it's like this every single day. I've never seen a single child here in 9 years, I've never seen a single child at this building. Right there.
Oh, then now it looks like we already got the Somalis coming through.
Yeah, they're coming. The word's out.
Hello, is this your daycare?
No. Can you tell us why there are no children? Have you ever seen children at this child care center?
I'm not sure. I don't.
Doesn't know if she's ever seen a child here. All right, let's go to the next location. And the fraud only gets more from here. Make sure you stay till the very end of this video to see exactly how much fraud we find by the time we are done. And before we go to the next location, I want to show you something super interesting about the flags of Minnesota. And here in Minnesota, if you take a look at the Minnesota state flag, they recently changed it, and it very much so resembles the flag of Somalia. And really quick, I want to tell you guys about the sponsor of this video, Opus Clip. What used to just be an
That's
AI
fucked up, dude. I'm sorry.
follow.
That's just crazy. You know, and the other thing that I wonder is, so you mean, you know, if you open up a restaurant, you're going to have people that have to come by, right, and approve your opening of the restaurant. You're going to have, you know, local, you know, whether it's county or city or whatever, that are going to come and check and make sure that your restaurant is set up properly, that you have the right types of freezers, and that you're keeping your food in. You know, we would get checked. I owned a restaurant when I was in my early 20s. And we would have them come by and do checks every so often. You mean to tell me they don't do any checks for child daycare? Nobody visits from the county or the state to say, you know, maybe we should check in on this. Even if it's once every 5 years, man. You know, you mean to tell me there's no checks on this? None? To make sure it's legit or it's a safe place for kids, or like he mentioned, there's no playground. There's no place. If there were kids, there's no place for them to go outside. And I don't know, is that a requirement? But it probably is. And why did nobody go around to check? They could have found the fraud, right? If they would have just maybe checked the place out to see, is it safe for kids? How are they feeding the kids? Are they providing the meals for the kids? Well, obviously not, but were they supposed to? Well, then maybe they should have a certain setup, and you have to have a certain kitchen, and you have to have, you know how restaurants are, you have to have 3 different tubs of water, you know, that you use. At least that's the way it was in Ohio. I don't know how it is here in Arizona or in Minnesota, but you know, you had these things. It had to be done a certain way. And what way is it being done there? There's not somebody to check on that at least once? Or was it checked when it opened and then that's it?
More than likely, that's probably what.
Yeah, but I'm going with it was never checked at all.
Probably not.
Yeah, and then even if it was checked, you mean to tell me that you check it before you allow anybody to come in? You don't want to come back one more time to see how they're handling the kids? Is there enough space? Are they overcrowding? Are they taking in more kids than they said was allowed in that space, or whatever it is? I don't know. But they seem to be reasonable fucking questions. And this is real motherfucking money. You went and busted your ass for the 25, the 40, the $60 an hour, whatever you make. You went and busted your ass. You gave up family time because you worked overtime so that you could cover the cost of your kids' travel baseball or travel soccer. You busted your ass for that. And we have people literally coming into the country not assimilating at all, making no effort to make the country better, but simply came to steal from you. You're the one they're stealing from. You're the one. They don't give 2 fucks about you. And if you say anything, you're a bigot. All right, man, this is so frustrating. And that's what happens. We get frustrated.
One. In fiscal year 2025, $1,042,059. In fiscal year 2024, $1,059,078. And in fiscal year 2023, $727,000. $336.
This next one is literally 1 block away, and this one's also generated nearly $3 million in the past 3 years. Let's see if there's any children. Let's see if any of the buildings are open. Here we go. All right, we've arrived to ABC Learning Center. All the windows are blacked out. Let's see if anybody is here. This door is locked.
This facility is licensed for 40 children. 0 children. I've come by this place 100 times. I've never seen a child here, ever. The only thing I've ever seen is someone standing outside smoking.
What's crazy about this is that last daycare center is that green building right there. And the other daycare center right now is right here. These buildings should be operating as they're receiving literally millions of dollars. I knocked on the door.
Have you ever
and to
seen
my
so many
surprise,
close
somebody
together like
actually
that too? That's just kind of crazy. And you know what? I don't know if he asked. It'd be interesting to know. Who are the fucking owners of the buildings? Who's the landlord of the building? Do they buy? Are these fraudsters buying the building too? Or are they leasing the building? What are they doing? Like, and if you lease a building to someone, you know, you don't ever check on it?
They probably get a cut of
And they probably just don't care. Because they're somebody's paying the rent and they don't give a fuck. That's just unbelievable.
answered the door. Hello? Can we speak? I would like to check a child in the daycare.
Why?
Can I speak to a manager? Where can I get paperwork to file for my son? I wanted to put my son Joey in daycare. And after a few questions, the lady went silent. Looks like little Joey Shirley ain't going to daycare here. And now where are we going?
Now we're going to Sweet Angel Child Care.
We're in the middle of a strip mall here inside of this neighborhood.
In fiscal year 2025, this facility, which says it's licensed for 74 kids, was paid $1.26 million in tax money. And there are no kids, and all the facilities are the same way, all of them.
Let's see if anyone opens.
Yeah, let's see.
Once again, I try to find a spot for my son Joey, and they would not open the door. I want to put my son Joey in daycare. Cuz I need a spot to put my son Joey.
Yes.
Is this your daycare center?
No, I work there. What's happened?
I just want to put a child in daycare, but all the daycare centers seem to be closed. No one's opening the doors.
You work here?
I was, yeah. What's happened?
Where are the kids?
Yeah?
It says it's licensed for 74 children. Right here, state of Minnesota. Where are the kids? They
Huh?
got paid $1.26 million in fiscal year 2025. It says they have a capacity for 74 children.
When? No, when?
Where are the kids? Right here. State of Minnesota website. You work here and you don't know?
I don't know. I was there before. I don't know what's going on.
Were there any kids when you worked here?
Is there? Kids there? What's
How
happened?
many?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You worked here. Okay, well then you're not of any help.
Can I put my son in a daycare here?
No, I don't know.
Can I speak to someone?
No, I don't know.
No. Yeah, I would like to see if I can put my son Joey here.
Who's your son, Joey?
My son Joey. Can I check out daycare center?
No! You're a liar. I'm the owner.
Do you put your kid here in this daycare?
No.
There is one child in there. Yeah, I'd like to know if this is a legit business.
Me, I'm scared of you too. How come I explain everything?
You're scared of me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of your curry.
Because of my color. You said you're scared of me because of my color. Does that make you a racist?
Yeah, no.
But
No.
you said you're scared of me because of my color.
I'm not saying you're racist.
You said you're scared of me because of my color. That makes you a racist. So right now,
This is my
they're all
tax
getting
money.
mad because he's showing the
I
paperwork
don't
of
know
this
that.
business being registered as a business. 74 children,
I've
no
been my
children.
whole life
We
here.
saw one child when the lady opened up the door.
So
But now
where did
they're
this
all
money
getting mad.
go? What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent
ask the
on?
owner.
There aren't any kids.
Ask the owner and the kids.
Well, then why are you talking
That's
for
not
the
my
owner
proof.
if you're
That's
telling me
not
to
my
talk
proof.
to the owner?
I'm sorry. I'm not understand what you're talking about.
Do you have a child here?
No.
Does anybody?
No.
Where are the 74 kids? Did you lose them? Did you lose these kids? Do I need to call someone? Do I need to issue an Amber Alert for missing children? Are these children missing? It's not my business that children are missing. 74 infants and toddlers, preschool.
The proof's right there. There's no children anywhere.
It's from the state of Minnesota right here.
I think we're moving on to the next location. Have a good day. As we continue to show the blatant fraud that was taking place here in Minnesota, Somalis started following us around the city. And now we're being followed by the Somalis. This is another daycare center, absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
5.9 million in 2 years. 5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now. From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous
Isn't this the kind of shit
learning center, which
that that 60 Minutes used to do, where they'd get an owner of one of these places on and ask him like really tough questions, and then show him video. Look, there's no kids in here. Where are the kids? Remember when 60 Minutes used to do investigative reporting, and we would watch on Sunday nights after the football game? Before there was Sunday Night Football? Back in the day, you remember that? Now nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. And yeah, that looks sweet. Look at this picture on there. The Leering Center, Quality Leering Center. I mean, Jesus Christ. Obviously, they make their own signs. Go ahead. Good Lord, man.
spells Quality Leering Center on the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Leering Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said they spelt learning wrong.
Don't open up!
How do you have ice here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ice!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million
Don't
over the
open up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in
Go
favor?
away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You know where
You're
the-
not welcome here.
Are you-
Shame on you.
Are you in favor of $1.9
Shame
million
on you. It's
going
ice.
illegally,
Don't open up.
fraudulently to this business that has Quality Learning Center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't
You know
open
what?
up.
Karen there needs her head
Yeah,
bashed
we are
in.
not ice.
I'm sorry.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up. It's ice.
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children in here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare
Minnesota
center.
says 99 children. Paid $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Get rid of all the fraud. Have you ever seen children at that daycare center right there?
Where?
Yeah, it's right there. It says the child, you've never seen daycare.
I haven't seen anybody in here.
We're gonna educate you on something. So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelled learning wrong. They've received over $1.9 million this year alone, and they're supposed to have 99 children here.
I don't see it.
99 children.
Have you ever seen any children here?
None at all. None.
This year they got 1.9 million. Last year they got 1.5 million of your tax money for 99 children. We just want to know where are the kids?
Right.
Where are the children?
I don't see them. I've been here since 2017. I haven't seen anybody like
Never
that here.
seen a child here.
No, not at all.
And so you've
8
never
years.
seen a child here for 8 years.
Nope, not at all.
And how does that make you feel knowing that this place is receiving
Disgusting.
$1.9 million?
It's disgusting. I mean, what the hell? They stealing the money. That's a federal grant too. That's, if they get caught for that, it's a federal offense. I know. I studied law.
And do you think Tim Walz should go to jail for all the fraud that he's enabled here in his state?
That's him doing this? Well, heck yeah. He's got to be held accountable for this. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason what's going on here. It's simple. It's nothing there.
Somebody should be.
Parking lot.
And look, they even
Somebody
spelled
should be held
learning
accountable.
wrong.
Somebody should be. I think we saw enough of this. Move it along a little bit further. See if there's a little bit more. We might want to get past this part where he's talking to this guy.
There's early learning center, 20
Wow,
In fiscal year
3.67 million, one place. How many kids are they supposed to have?
This money is going. Is it going to terrorism? Where is it going? But it's theft. It's fraud. And the reason I'm involved is I want it to stop. I care about Minnesota.
In here, I thought
I'm
fraud
doing
was
this for the people of
harder.
Minnesota.
Honestly, I thought it was harder than what this looks like. This looks like that probably wasn't that hard to do,
Probably not.
right? Other than setting up, an
the
LLC and actually renting a place, so you had a physical building.
And that alone
and
is
stuff.
really not even that hard to do, honestly.
Right. You know what? The state doesn't require, that how many, what the structure is of the place. If there's, if it's a manager or if the owner is the manager, and then you got the daycare teachers, right? And is there some rule that there has to be like, say, one teacher for every 20 kids? Shouldn't you have to disclose, that this is how many kids we're serving. This is how many teachers we have on staff. And, which proves that you're running a business.
Yeah.
There's just no proof of anything. And they're just handing out checks. I mean, I want a check. I want a check. Seriously. Go a little bit further. Maybe about halfway from where we're
Hello.
at now.
How
Oh,
are
here
you?
we're talking to somebody. Let's
I would
see
like
this
to
one.
see if I could bring little Joey, my son, little Joey here. Is there paperwork, or can I check out the daycare? No. Why can't I check out the daycare?
Military's not here.
Okay, but if I can I get paperwork or anything to submit my son, little Joey, to come in here to daycare? We'd really like to put Joey in this daycare. We've heard great things.
Business card?
No, I would like your business card, actually.
You talk to your manager.
Okay, can I speak with somebody? Where are the children at? Are there children here today?
No.
No children.
Yes.
Why are there no children?
Two of Mexico.
Would my son, little Joey, have friends to play with here?
No.
No. No friends for little Joey.
Yes. Sorry.
Ah, dang it. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
So, little Joey would not be accepted to that daycare.
Joey's still homeless.
Joey's still looking for daycare.
And because little Joey couldn't get into a daycare, we went to an autism center, as they have been popping up everywhere as a rise of autism has occurred here in Minnesota because of the government funds that they're receiving. I tried to check my son
One in
Joey
five.
in the autism
1 in
center.
5, dude.
We've been
That's
going to a lot of
20.
these daycare centers. We're
That's
trying to find a
20%.
spot for our...
That's 20%. We're not talking about a little bit of fraud. If it's 20% of something, that's a lot. That's a lot. Let's see what this guy has to say.
little boy Joey, but we thought maybe we could check him in the autism center because none of the daycare centers are open. Yeah, and how many kids do you guys have at this autism center?
I can't give you a number now.
Like more than 5?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, so you don't really know?
Yeah,
What do you guys think about like the fraud that's been labeled on the autism centers here? What do you guys do think about the fraud, or how come the autism centers are popping up?
I can't answer
What
that,
news?
but
Are you a news reporter?
My name's Nick. We're doing a little documentary trying to find little Joey a spot to put himself in one of these centers here because there's
So why are you asking us about
the fraud.
and stuff like that?
Yeah, because we want to make sure we're going to legit business if we're going to bring our little boy Joey here.
this is not a Joey spot. Yeah. But that's our number on the other call. But this is a, we can't let you guys see. So.
Okay, thank you. So once again, little Joey, he can't even go to daycare, and now they won't even accept him if he has autism.
And again, no kids. Couldn't tell you how many kids they serve.
After being able to provide no evidence of them actually being an autism center and a place where a child could go, they shut the door and we headed to the next fraudulent daycare center that was just around the corner.
I'm going to
We're on
look
to the next location.
at every daycare now that I go by.
To see if there's
And I'm
kids in
going to be
there.
checking the parking lot, especially in the middle of the day, right? Or something. Look and see if they have a playground or something, because whenever you focus on something, you see more of it. So that's going to be at the center of my mind, my attention. Let's get towards the end to see how he wraps this up. Can we do that? But just work after work, we're solid. More places. Go back. Yeah, we want to see that lady.
And we headed to the state capitol where they're having a
This
meeting
is
about the
here
fraud
we
to
went.
confront the state representatives and people in the government who have enabled and let this fraud happen. Inside of this committee, a Republican representative showed charts showing exactly how this fraud has been committed and who is profiting and connecting all the dots. And while the Democrat representatives looked into the abyss, one of them spoke about how none of this is building trust and how this is a nonpartisan issue, so I went and confronted her after that.
Yes, but he has some very valid questions to ask about what's going on here in Minnesota. And do you think this fraud
I don't know who you
crosses?
are.
My name's Nick Shirley. Do you think this fraud is Republican or Democrat, or just facts that fraud is happening?
I think the fact that
Because
you're talking about it as a partisan issue.
because that's what I heard you talking about. That
I know what I said is that
because
what we're talking
we want
about
to build trust, but fraud is fraud. So why should we be enabling fraud to happen here?
No, I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to
When are you
happen.
going to hold Governor Walz accountable for this?
Okay, sir.
No. This
Sir,
is not.
sir.
When are you going to hold Governor Walz? No. She is a representative for the state of Minnesota. Yes or no?
Excuse me.
Yes. Are you?
If you're gonna talk to me like
Are you going
that,
to say to her, "I'm a disability advocate.
I heard you, and
I get
you got a chance
overstimulated."
to testify.
Thank you for testifying today.
No.
Ma'am, the facts are the facts that fraud is happening here, and it's not a nonpartisan issue. How come you think fraud has been able to happen so much underneath?
I think if you've
government
been
here.
listening to our hearings, we've had now 10 hearings.
Oh, they have
on this.
hearings.
And so there's
Oh,
really
they have
good
hearings.
data from the people who both.
Because then
work with-
accountability happens when they have hearings. It doesn't matter if it's in your motherfucking state capital, if it's at your little town's little center or wherever the fuck the city council meets, or if it's in fucking Washington, D.C. It literally doesn't matter. These people are not capable, and they can talk about it, but nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. All right. Let's finish. We'll see what else she has to say, and then we'll wrap things up.
In the administration, as well as who both Democrat and Republicans. I
Yes.
think what you heard today is that the Republicans who control this committee are not actually interested in solving fraud. What they're interested in is telling a story.
This fraud has happened underneath Democrat leader Tim Walz.
There has been Medicaid fraud across the country under Democrats and Republicans. There's fraud within the Trump administration. We have is fraud. Private providers have made government a mark. And so every person running government, Democrats or Republicans, are dealing with the issue of how to keep fraudsters out of our public payment. We're also dealing with veterans. We're dealing with consumers. I hope you're looking at that. If you look at United Health, currently is being charged with defrauding Medicare. You know who runs Medicare? President Trump. Medicaid fraud is a 50-state issue. And so, again, it is not a partisan issue. There are Democrats and Republicans who are sitting in that committee talking about it. But what you did here was the Republican chair say she's not turning information over to the one person in government who can stop payment. And I hope you print that.
Thank you for coming today.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well, you
This
saw what
really
happened
the
there?
state of Minnesota that we live in, and these politicians are just walking off, thinking it's okay Tuesday, and they want to go visit the Trump. They want to blame the Trump administration. We have Democrats blaming ICE. I'm tired. My people are suffering. I'm scared for my little brother.
He is a little
My people
overstimulated.
Are suffering.
A little
and these
bit.
people just walk off. We have a governor who fucking doesn't care. How many more people are gonna freaking die? How
Good
many more
Lord,
people are
dude.
gonna
Get
go
some
homeless?
testosterone. I'm sorry.
And how many more people
That's
are
good.
gonna be trapped?
We're good. I think that's, we went through it pretty well for you, I think. So that maybe something you don't see everywhere else with everybody else talking about it, the work that this young man really did. And I think that's phenomenal that he's done that. And, we can hope that something's done. I'm not expecting anything to be done. I'm not expecting it. And I don't really give a fuck if it's Republicans or Democrats. I don't care who gets the hammer. I don't. There's a whole bunch of us that don't give a shit about whether it's one party or another party. If it's both, great. Hold both accountable. Everyone should be held accountable. But it should start with the people who committed the fraud. And then it should go to who allowed this fraud to continue. Who enabled this fraud? Who runs whatever that department is in the state of Minnesota that hands out checks to daycare? What department is that? Who is the head of that department? What are they doing about this? I haven't seen any news conferences with people like that on TV this weekend. I haven't seen that. Where are they at? They should be. Is it an appointed position? Is it just a government position? Somebody's been on the job for 30 years. Who's in charge of this shit? And why do we not know about it? Because mainstream media is not looking into it. They're being dragged along, kicking and screaming like little fucking kids. And this is a real story. This is real news. This is what people really want from our media that we're not getting and haven't gotten. We don't want our media, no matter which side it's on or, where they lean to, we don't want them just to be mouthpieces for political parties. That's not what media was supposed to do. We got to work and take our fucking kids to soccer. Like I said before, that's what we have. We don't have time to look into this shit. That's why we have you. That's why there's freedom of the press. It's because you're supposed to be doing this motherfucking work and you're not doing it. You're not doing it. But when there's a vacuum, when something needs to be done and the people you expect to do it are not doing it, somebody's going to step up. Somebody's going to fill that gap. And it was this young man, Nick. He stepped up. You people who have been journalists, who have gone to the best journalism schools in the country, you know what? You motherfuckers should be embarrassed today. You should be embarrassed that Nick has outshone you all. He's outshone you all of you. Where's his Pulitzer Prize? You guys can make up stories and it be proven true 2 years later that the story that you got an award for was actually false, but you get to keep the trophy. That's not how it's supposed to work, man. It's not supposed to work like that. All right. That's what I got for you on a Monday. We're just sticking with that. I'm not going to jump into something else where I can't give it the real due time. But I do have something else that we will be talking about this week. It's just, it'll still be there on Wednesday when we jump back. It'll still be there on Wednesday when we talk about Ukraine and the money there. We're talking about a lot of money, people. Just to set it up for you, $800 billion. Ukraine wants $800 billion. That's what they want when the war ends, to rebuild their country. This is not our motherfucking war. I'm over Ukraine. I'm over the dictator. I'm over Trump dealing with the bullshit. You know what? Fuck Ukraine and fuck the Russians. Let them figure it out themselves. And if Europe's worried about, Putin going after Poland again or something, let Europe deal with it. Their problem. We'll get into that on Wednesday. So check us out. Spread some of our clips around. I'm sure we'll get some good clips from this because this was some really good stuff today that Nick had, and I had a comment here or there that might be worth passing along to. We appreciate you. Any of the social medias, you can get a hold of me. some way through there. It's pretty easy. They're all easier than YouTube, for sure, right? All right, so this is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back.